What's up, my beautiful besties? Welcome to my channel, Sweet Shoes and Book Reviews with Nicole. Today, I am reviewing the book, A Court of Thorn and Roses. Guys, it's a wild ride right here. I was so skeptical of this book, and no, you know what? I'm not even going to do this here. We got baking to do. Today's dessert to go along with the book is going to be a chocolate torte. And if you're asking me what a torte is, I don't know, but it's chocolate. It's probably going to be delicious. And I will get into why I picked that dessert as we're baking. But yeah, so I'm really excited to review this book and to get baking. So let's get started. I don't even know. This book, man, wild ride. So this book has been popular for quite some time, and I've seen it all over the internet. I've seen it all over Instagram. People have raved about this book, but I just was kind of like, you know what? I don't think I can get into it. You know, I heard it was about fairies, and I was like, fantasy's not really my thing. You know, I don't know how I'm going to feel about reading about fairies. So I just kind of like, not avoided it, but just didn't really like go out of my way to read the book. Well, then I decided to create a bookstagram. So if you do not follow me on Instagram, here's my Instagram name. So be sure to give me a follow. When starting my bookstagram account, I started following tons of people, and I was seeing this book everywhere, guys. And I was just like, okay, what is the hype? Like, what is the hype? I have to read it now. I have to. I was like, I'm probably going to hate this book, but I have to do it. Normally when I want to read a book, I usually will just go out and buy it because books they're like my family, guys. So once I read a book, that's it. They're a part of me. They go on the bookshelf and they stay with me forever. So I will normally just go buy a book that I want to read so that way I have the book. My fellow book lovers, you know what I'm talking about. But with this book, I really just like did not want to buy the book because I was like, I'm probably not going to like this book and it would be such a waste to buy it and then I don't even like it. So I ended up just borrowing the book to read it. Well, I can honestly say that I loved it so much that I will be buying my own copy of this book and all the other books in this series so I can have them because I can't not have them. Like, they have to be on my bookshelf. It just has to happen, guys. Okay, enough of me rambling. Let's get into, like, the actual book itself. Okay, so like I had mentioned, this book is about fairies, but there's a lot of cool, like, aspects to this book. So the book starts out with, you meet this girl. Her name is Sarah, I believe. Now, that's the other thing, guys. It's a fantasy book. I don't normally read fantasy books, so all these names, these places, these magical creatures, I have no idea how to really say these names. So you know what? I'm doing my best, and I'm saying it how I think it is in my head, and don't come for me in the comments if it's not actually how it is. I'm doing my best, okay? Thank you. So anyways, you start off by meeting this girl, Sarah, and her family situation is her two sisters and her dad, they all live in this small cottage and they are poor. So her backstory is her family had money, but they lost all their money. So obviously I won't get into that because I don't want to like ruin anything. Out of her two sisters, she's the only one that like takes care of the family. Like her two sisters just want to live in the same lifestyle that they had, and the father is so like beat down from losing his money that he just doesn't do anything to help either. So Sarah is like their whole, like, it's the way they get their food. Like she goes out and hunts it. Like she's the one that's like taking care of the family at this point. So Sarah goes out one day to hunt because, you know, they don't have any food, and she's in the woods and a deer in her sights, and she's ready to like shoot it. But then she sees this wolf, this big wolf comes out of nowhere. And she was like, well, I don't really know if it's a fairy disguised as a wolf, but I can't really take this chance because, you know, I need this deer. And if I don't shoot this deer, this wolf is gonna get it, and that's gonna be my chance to like have dinner for my family. So she ends up shooting this deer with an ash wood, ma'am, she ends up shooting this deer with an ashwood arrow, which in the book they say like ash is the only way to kill a fairy. So she's like, if it's a fairy disguised as a wolf, this ash arrow will, like, it'll kill it. So she shoots it and she kills the wolf, and she is like, okay, well, it must not have been a fairy because it didn't like transform or anything. It just was this dead wolf. So she dragged the wolf home along with the deer. So the next day she goes into the market and she sells the skin of the deer and the wolf. And they, you know, there's talks of like these fairies, because that's gonna like invade the human world. So the fairies and the humans have like a treaty where, like, you know, they have all these rules. You know, the humans don't go into like the fairy world. There's like a wall up that they can't get through to go into the fairy world. And the fairies are not supposed to like come over the world into the human world because they don't like each other. The humans, they don't trust the fairies. And there was like a war between them, like years past. So there's just not good blood between the humans and the fairies. And she hears talks in the town of like, there's, you know, like rumors of these fairies like that are going to invade, or something is going to invade, and, you know, to just kind of be on guard. Then that night they're at home in their cottage, and this like rabid creature, this like big wolf, like basically kicks down their door and is asking like, who is the one who murdered the wolf? And, you know, Feyre's like, I did it. And the wolf said, you know, basically revealed that like he's a fairy, and because she took a life from them, that she has to give her life to them in payment of that. But he wasn't going to kill her. He was going to take her back to their land to like live there for the rest of her life in place of the fairy who was disguised as a wolf. So the wolf, like, you know, takes her and puts her under a magic spell, takes her to his land. Which, there is a name for this land, guys, but, like, I don't even know if I'm going to say it right. Like, I think it's Prythian, Prythian, I don't know. If you've read the book and you know how to say it, drop it below in the comments, because that's how I was saying it in my head, like, Prythian, Prythian, I don't know. So, yeah. And, so he takes her back to their land, and that's where she's going to live out the remainder of her life. And she is, like, not happy about this. She doesn't trust the fairies. She thinks that it's, like, some type of scheme and plot. So now this is where I can't really give anything else, because I don't want to give one spoiler away for this book. So all I'm going to say is the remainder of the book is her in the fairy world dealing with what's happening there. And the only thing that I will say is she ends up finding out that there is this like darkness, this bad magic in the fairyland, Prythian, again. And it has affected the fairies. And the fairies, so guys, I am so all over the place with this book because there's so much and I don't even know what to say. So let me back up a step. So the fairy wolf that went and snatched her out of her home, his name is Tamlin. And Tamlin is the one that she ends up living with. And Tamlin basically tells her, like, bless you. Baby sneezes. So Tamlin ends up telling her, there's this darkness, this dark like magic that's been taking over the fairy realm for a long time, and we're trying to fight it, and it, you know, it has all these nasty creatures, and you know, our magic has been diminished. So like I have magic, but it's very, very like, it's not to the extent that it was. I'm not as powerful as I once was. And everybody in his court, because that's the main part of the book is like there's all different courts in the fairyland. There's Spring Court, which is where Tamlin is the High Lord, and then there's Autumn Court, Winter Court, Night Court. So there's all these like different like towns, if you will, of different fairies and their people. So he is the High Lord of Spring Court. So he says that his people, part of this magical curse, darkness, is they got stuck wearing these like masquerade masks. So she can't see his full face. Like she can just see like his lower half, his upper, and like his eyes. And everybody in his court has this because that's what happened when this curse like came about. Also in the book, there's Lucian. I call him Lucian, but I think I saw a thing that said his name is supposed to be pronounced Lucien, but just from the beginning, my brain said Lucian, and so I can't unthink that. So that's what I'm calling him. So Lucian is Tamlin's emissary, and they live together in his like manor in this spring court. So they are fighting this like dark magic together. So the whole remainder of the book is basically, like Feyre living in this fairyland and kind of going through this like dark magic, but also trying to find out if there's a way. I got chocolate on my mixer. But also trying to find a way out of like having to stay there for the rest of her life. Like she's hoping there's a way around this treaty and she can like find a way to go back home to her family because she made this promise to her mom when her mom was dying that she would always look out for her family, and she feels like her family can't survive without her. I don't know, guys. All I can say is I just did not expect how much I was going to enjoy this book. Like, this book had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Like, between some of the creatures that she faces to, some of the situations that come up. And when you find out kind of like about this black magic. So there's just so much happening. I have seen people say, when talking about this book, that like the middle, the beginning is good, the middle is kind of like and then the end is like really good. So they usually like say like keep reading, don't give up, stay the course of the book. In my opinion, I feel like the book was good the whole way through. Like there was no point at all in the book where I was like, oh, this is boring. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. Just like, what is happening? What is going on? And then, when you get to like, not the end, but like the end half of the book, I have never been more stressed out when reading a book. When I tell you my emotions were all over the place, I did not even know what to do. I will say, for it being a book about fairies, like, I think in my mind, like, how stupid is this? But I think in my mind, I was like, oh, fairies, little tiny things that fly, this is gonna be weird. But it's not. Like, these fairies are described as, like, grown men and women, like, with big wings like a bat. Like big, huge wings. And the High Lords, there's 7 of them because there's like one for like each of the courts, I believe. So the High Lords have like shape-shifting powers, I think. I don't know if that's for all of them, but 2 of the characters in the books that are High Lords, they have shape-shifting capabilities. I was definitely surprised that it wasn't these little tiny fairies that I think I had envisioned in my mind. I would say that my favorite character in the book had to be Feyre, because she was like, I have 0 F's to give, and she just like did what had to get done. Like, she wasn't, even when she was scared, she like got stuff done. Your girl was like I would say she's like the definition of I'm an independent woman. Like, she was like, I'm gonna get it done. I don't care. I don't need your help. So I give her all the credit. Like, if I had to go through what she went through in this book, you might as well as just go ahead and call me cooked, because I would have been done for. I don't know if I would have had the strength to do half of the stuff that she did in that book, you guys. The character that came into play was another High Lord. His name is Rysand. I think that's how you say it. Rysand. And he is the High Lord of the Night Court. And when I tell you, I thought I had a thing for Tamlin until Rysand entered. Cue Rysand. I was like, oh, okay, sir. You could get it. He's like the bad boy fairy. He's like the one that shows up on the motorcycle. He doesn't actually show up on a motorcycle. But like he gives that vibe. Like he's the bad boy fairy. You know, he, I don't know. He's just got a swagger. So you do get to see some of his character. And I think from what I've seen online, you get to see a lot more of his character in the like next coming books. So I'm like really, really looking forward to like diving more into his character and kind of getting to see like what his role is in these books. Now, the reason why I picked the chocolate torte to go along with the book is because when Feyre first, you know, is in the fairy realm, she's at the dinner table and she's starving. Because mind you, I said she was poor and they didn't really like eat often. And when they had food, they had to like make it last. So, you know, eating like big meals, lots of food, it just like, it wasn't something she did after they lost all their money. So she's at the dinner table in Tamlin's house and the table is just like this full spread of food. And she's so hungry, but she doesn't want to eat the food because she doesn't trust it. She's like, it's fairies. I don't trust him. How do I know the food's not like poisoned or something? So she doesn't want to eat. And, you know, Tamlin is at the dinner table with her and he keeps telling her like, the food is safe. Like you can eat it. It's fine. And she just doesn't believe him until finally, like he kind of, you know, uses his magic to like force her to eat. Like he kind of like keeps her in the seat. So she has no choice. So she gives in and she's like, okay, I'm going to eat the food. And it says in the book that she like ate until she was so full and she was reaching for another piece of chocolate torte, but Tamlin like used his magic and made the food disappear and basically told her like, if you eat one more bite of food, you're going to make yourself sick. So just reading that like about the chocolate torte, it just made me laugh because I was thinking to myself like, if I was in a situation like that and I had a full spread of food in front of me, my first concern would probably be the dessert because I have such a sweet tooth and I feel like dessert is probably like, was like a luxury for her because she didn't have money and they could barely afford food anyways. So to have this delicious dessert in front of her, it must have been like such a treat. So I could totally picture going back for seconds and then being told like, nope, you're gonna make yourself sick if you don't stop eating. So with the chocolate torte though, I decided to also make this like strawberry sauce to go on top of it. Mainly because sometimes I feel like when you have such a decadent dessert like a chocolate torte or something that's all chocolate, sometimes you need something to kind of break up that flavor, like to try to make it a little less decadent. So I'm just making a strawberry sauce that I'll pour over the top of it once it's done, like when I serve it and we're gonna eat it. Now, this is my first time ever making a chocolate torte, so this could be really good or this could be a flaming dumpster fire. One way or the other, we're gonna find out. And even if it didn't turn out that great, I still got to bake and talk to you guys about books, so it's a win-win. But I kind of hope it turns out good because I really enjoy dessert and I really like chocolate. So I'm really hoping that this turns into something edible. Okay guys, so because this is real life, I'm just gonna keep it all the way real. And on today's episode of What the Hell Happened, it was an epic fail, folks. So this is the bottom. Oh God. So this is the bottom of the torte. It is black. It is like soot, charcoal, blacker than black. I don't know what happened here. Oh, so yeah, the sides completely burnt. Smells completely burnt. So I think what might have happened here is I think that my oven temperature was too hot. 400 might have been a little too hot. So I am going to invest in an oven thermometer, which, again, I'm going to have Baking Tip Tuesdays. So yeah, I completely destroyed this. This was an epic fail, guys. I'm going to flip this over. I have another plate here. Hold on. No, I don't. Just kidding. It's on the other side of the kitchen. Fantastic. Okay, so this isn't even, what in the hot mess central? Somebody phone Batman because we have a problem. Guys. Again, like I said, this is real life. I'm a home baker. I'm not a professional. I didn't go to school for this. So everything that I have learned to bake has been trial and error. It's been learning by fire half the time. So the recipe seemed easy enough. I thought that I could do it. I think I overshot it. And here we are with this beautiful disaster. And I definitely stopped making the strawberry sauce because there's no point of strawberry sauce for burnt chocolate torte. Delicious. And I was gonna try to like at least just taste it to see if it still tasted good, but the inside of this, guys, is like, the inside of this still looks like extremely uncooked, while the outside and the bottom of it looks like it went, I don't even know. I don't even know. So yeah, even though my baking was an epic fail today, I hope that you liked my review. I definitely recommend this book. I give it a 5 out of 5 cupcake rating, 100% hands down. I think even if this is not your usual genre, I think you should just dive in with both feet and see what it's all about, because you are missing out. If you like this content and you want to see more, please be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to share it. Tell your friends, tell your grandma, tell anybody, tell everybody. And stay tuned for more content. I have lots more stuff to come, and who knows, it could be an epic fail like today, or it could be something super tasty. But yeah, stay tuned and see you next time.